The XFL relaunch is set to begin in February of 2020. This football league, founded by wrestling mogul Vince McMahon, has landed big TV contracts with Fox, ABC, and ESPN, and is viewed as an alternative to the National Football League. The idea that the XFL is some big meme has quite honestly faded, and there are legitimate concerns from within the NFL that the XFL needs to be viewed as competition, and some have said we could be seeing the second coming of the USFL. For those that don't remember, in the 80s, the USFL was an upstart football league with money to spend. I'm talking Donald Trump money. They signed 3 straight Heisman winners away from the NFL before the draft: Herschel Walker, Doug Flutie, and Mike Rozier. Other names such as Reggie White, Jim Kelly, and Steve Young also started in the USFL. Take a minute, try to imagine if that league stayed afloat, those faces not going to the NFL, not being a part of the NFL's history, no minister of defense, no 4 Super Bowl appearances for the Buffalo Bills, no 49ers magic with Steve Young. This is a completely legitimate threat. And remember that money I was talking about, that Donald Trump money? Well, Donald Trump has a certain connection to the owner of the XFL, and there are a lot of people that believe behind the scenes Donald Trump is going to be partnering and working with Vince McMahon on the XFL. The President of the United States backing the NFL's lead competitor. The XFL hasn't even taken a snap yet, and they've got a top college football talent in West Virginia safety Kenny Robinson. An expected second-round pick for the 2020 draft left school before his junior season to sign a lucrative XFL contract. It's only a matter of time until first-round prospects start giving the middle finger to the NCAA for playing for free, for that risk of injury, and going straight to the XFL to get some money. Sophomores, freshmen, hell, maybe even kids out of high school are going to start making that jump to the XFL, and that poses a massive, massive problem for the National Football League. This is a problem the NFL wants to eliminate right now. Kill the XFL in its infancy before they ever have a chance to grow, reestablish, and become a truly legit threat. The XFL is currently made up of 90% NFL free agents, and the only players with upside are either the bad boys of the NFL or undrafted free agents. Undrafted free agents, more so polarizing players that still have some college name value behind their reputation. The XFL won't survive if they aren't getting these types of players. A league full of, say, NFL journeymen poses no threat to the NFL and its owners. So how do you ensure that the XFL can't sign the best of the rest when it comes to the NFL's rosters? There has to be a way that the NFL can solve this issue. In breaking news today, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has announced that the NFL has bought the LA Chargers from former owner Dean Spanos and will operate a new team for the 2020 NFL season as a developmental program for the NFL. An unheard of premise in American sports, the NFL owned and managed team will be designed to only sign and play undrafted players and free agents left over after the league's 53-man roster cuts. Goodell has refrained from acknowledging this shocking move was a response to the league-wide fears over the XFL and focused on the innovation of having an elite developmental team and also getting rid of the black eye in the league in way of the LA Chargers with their half-empty stadiums and failing ownership. We here today can officially report that everyone's contract with the Chargers organization has been terminated and they're free to sign elsewhere, making the talent available for the 2020 free agency period unmatched in league history. And to finish, there are 4 rumored locations for the relocation of the league's 32nd franchise. We're told the league has filed for copyrights on Toronto Thunderbirds, San Antonio Express, Sacramento Condors, and the Portland Snowhawks.
I've been back in town where the whole squad is. I've been all around, yeah, what you call this? Coolin' with my clique, yeah, we flawless. Stocking on my picks, no use.
So now that Roger Goodell has pretty much handed the keys over, he's done. He's ready to be on the outside looking in for the Portland Snowhawks. He's gone through the entire relocation process, secured everything in Portland. We would like to introduce our brand new head coach, fired up through the coaching ranks, Hugh Janus. Now you may not be so sure who he is. What coaching tree is he from? Well, that is very easy to explain how this is going to work, because another kind of different thing that I want to have here in this franchise that sets it apart, aside from, you know, all the other rules where we can't draft anyone, we have to have all undrafted players, we have to pick free agents after all the 53-man rosters are cut. XP sliders. They're all going to start at 0. So the point is there's going to be, we're still working through the kinks. I will have a premise before we wrap up today's video. It's going to be performance based, but we have a brand new coaching staff and we are going to have to earn our XP sliders. Right now, our UDFAs, they are crap out of luck. There is absolutely no help from this coaching staff when it comes to the development, which is kind of weird because this team is designed to develop players from going to the XFL. But I think it added dimension, something that kind of makes me think of how NCAA 14 did it, where you would start out with a brand new coach and you'd have nothing in way of your coaching skill trees, right? You'd have to win X amount of games, hit certain performance indicators. I feel like that's something that kind of mixes in what you got in NCAA, and it also has some elements to how we would score things in pink slips. Like, I'm trying to take a lot of different types of inspiration from franchise modes and implement it here in this brand new Madden franchise. So always going to be looking for suggestions on how we could do this, but this is a premise for this franchise I want. I want everything to start at 0, and we're going to have to work our way up. I don't know if we're going to cap it. I feel like maybe we'll cap it at 150, because that's, anything past 150, you're going to be, pretty much your players are going to be on steroids. But I think 150 is a generous amount that if we really do want to, specialize in quarterbacks, we want our quarterbacks to develop these UDFAs, these small school players, then we're gonna spend all of our points here, and we're gonna obviously be weak in other areas, wide receiver, other skill positions on the defensive side. So I do think right now a cap of 150, which is obviously very long ways down the road, but this is one element I wanted to introduce you guys here for this franchise mode that's gonna kind of help separate it from the rest of what's available on YouTube. So drafting is an interesting one that I have kind of gone on the fence about how it's going to work, because we can only use UDFAs, and what I've come to accept is we're going to use our draft picks, but only we can select UDFAs. So it still makes sense that we could scout, because we could scout every UDFA or most of them every single year. We're going to find players. Look, Kelly Bryant here, former Clemson quarterback. He actually has a 7th round grade as a UDFA quarterback. That's a top A+ throw power. He's someone right away that's very appealing for us as a franchise. But I was kind of thinking about draft picks. I don't want to use my draft picks, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense every single year just to keep trading them away and never using them and just waiting for UDFA, because we're going to get the top UDFAs anyways, right? As soon as the first wave of free agency goes. So I feel like kind of view the draft picks as priority, UDFA priority. We're going to get top billing for those players. We don't have to risk any of these guys that slip through the cracks going elsewhere, because if this was truly a developmental team that we are providing, the top UDFAs are going to want to come to this team because they're going to have the best chance of actually seeing game time and stepping on that field. So rather, like I said, than kicking the can every single year, trading all of our draft picks, every one of our picks is going to have to select a UDFA projected player. So looking at some of the league signings here before we get into it, obviously we gave up our team, so Joey Bosa is now a member of the Buffalo Bills. Keenan Allen went to the Giants. Casey Hayward went to the Giants. Hunter Henry went to the Bills. Melvin Ingram, Colts. What do we got? Eckler went to the Cardinals. Melvin Gordon went to the Bucks. You got Mike Williams going to the Bengals. I mean, looking right now, these are still not the players that are going to be available to us, because obviously a lot of these guys are going to get signed up. Like, I'm shocked Derwin James has to, right? I mean, Madden could be glitchy and he still could be available, and that'll be an annoying hurdle to deal with when it comes to it. But I'm going to assume a lot of these guys are not going to be available when it comes time that we can actually fill out our roster with free agents. But guys like Demarcus Robinson or sometime there, I'm fully expecting that we're going to be able to get some guys, 25, 26 in their prime that are high 70s, a couple of them anyways, when it comes time to sign our free agents. So with our first pick, this is kind of the best of our scouting. We should have our pick of the litter. We got Christian Rector at a USC, got a 3rd round grade. That is the highest selection. Kelly Bryant at quarterback, high combine grade. He's probably most likely going to be our quarterback. We'll just go with highest round. So the first selection for the Portland Snowhawks as part of the NFL's developmental program, they are going to sign Christian Rector, defensive end from USC. Now, if we're going to probably play in a 4-3, he brings some flexibility. 6'4", 275, you know, D-end, hybrid D-tackle. So he's coming out 67 normal. He's number 95 overall in the draft. Good athlete, great strength, 94 strength, solid agility. That's an awesome pick here. First pick in franchise history, Christian Rector from USC. And he's a scheme fit for whatever that's worth. Obviously, our scheme at this point is a little bit fluid, but Christian Rector, welcome to the squad. In the second round, we're going to have a little bit of Gator bias here. We are going to select David Reese, the second linebacker from Florida. Second in 40, second in bench press, 65 overall with a hidden dev trait. 84 speed, 85 acceleration, got great hit power. Really underrated player right now. Obviously, as a Gator fan, he's not getting nearly enough draft hype. He's most likely going to go UDFA. And when we eventually get to my draft content where we talk about linebackers, he's going to be one of my sleepers for sure. And scheme fit. In the third round, we have some options here available, but we're going to go with Khaleke Hudson. Khaleke Hudson was a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, like one of the best hybrid linebackers. He took over for what Jabril Peppers did on that Michigan defense. I think he had an issue where he bulked up a little bit and kind of became an awkward projection for the NFL. But I think Khaleke Hudson is totally a nice, strong safety option for us. And he's a 65 normal, under 131 in the draft. So really, you know, thinking in Madden terms, anytime you get someone in like the 250s, 250 and under, those are draftable players. So Hudson here, we bring in 86 speed, 86 acceleration, good tackle, solid hit power, not a liability in coverage, 66 catching as well. So now I'm going to kind of look at I mean, Dowell has really nice grades here, but AC, DeMarcus AC from Mizzou, 6'2", solid combine, but we got B-man, B-zone. I'm all about that. The 4.57 is not terrible, but he comes in 63 overall, 185 in the draft, coming in 75 man, 75 zone. That is tremendous for a UDFA caliber player. Now we're here in the fifth round. Let's continue to build this secondary. I think David Dowell at free safety with all the B, solid top skills, pursuit, tackle, third fastest 40-yard dash time, 4.51 for a free safety. So we're going to get him 65 overall. Our first good pick, number 141 in the draft. We got him at 154, only 1 point off being a perfect scheme fit in zone. 90 speed, you got 72 tackle, 73 pursuit, 80 hit power, 70 block shed. Definitely could be considered a guy that can play free and or strong safety. Very versatile defensive back. Along with Hudson, you know, getting some Big Ten players here. I think at this point, we're just going to continue signing the best quality players. So we got some guys that have fifth round grades. I'm going to look here at, what do we got? All C's. At least we got the B with Vildor, Kendall Vildor from Georgia Southern. So we're going to make him a selection. We're going heavy in the secondary here, 65. Not exactly a scheme fit, but 72 man, solid athlete. Not going to be a liability in terms of speed. It's a pretty good pick. And then, you know, we kind of just got best of the rest. There's some, almost all these guys are going to be available. I would think most of them are going to be available for us when it comes our time that we can sign guys. Because right now, just given the premise of this series, I think guys on practice squads should also technically be available to us because we could sign them away. They're not on the 53s. But I'd be remiss if we didn't at least get a quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be the quarterback, but Kelly Bryant with that A+ throw power, really good combine grade, 6'4", 220. Who knows if we can develop him into something? Who knows if he's even going to be our starter? But I think he's a valuable backup with that speed. An interesting player to use for sure. So with our final selection in the draft, that's not really a selection in the draft. We select former Clemson quarterback, was kind of supposed to be the heir to Deshaun Watson. Wasn't really that, had to transfer to Mizzou, but Kelly Bryant, get in, 62 overall, number 195 in the draft. Get him at 218, coming in with 91 throw power, 77 throw on the run, 76 play action, 70 short, 88 speed, 93 acceleration, 94 agility, really good carrying stats. You know, he could be honestly be one of those guys that we could consider certainly moving to running back. He might actually even have a higher rating at running back. So here we go. In this charter program, debut program for the NFL, these are the famous faces that are selected to be a part of it. Kelly Bryant, Vildor, David Dowell, DeMarcus Acey, Khaleke Hudson, David Reese II, and Christian Rector. And honestly, when all is said and done, that is a pretty damn good draft. I mean, we did get the dev trait on David Reese, which is even more added value than just the base, but like, knowing how Madden draft classes go, knowing how strict I kind of was with my own personal ratings, this is still probably like a B grade draft at worst. So I'm liking it. So I went ahead after the draft and signed our undrafted free agents. We only had 7 guys on the roster. Clearly, we have a team that can compete throughout the preseason until we can get our stab at the NFL free agents. So let's kind of meet the players that we have acquired. We're not going to get too comfortable with knowing them because once we can have our shot at bringing in some NFL free agents, we are going to try to do so. So we drafted Kelly Bryant. We got Case Cookus, who was actually, I got their notes here because obviously these are my draft classes. He got over 12,000 passing yards, 105 touchdowns. Small school, but I think he was for 3 years in a row in the running for the FCS's Heisman. So we might get something there. He's your more traditional pocket passer, but he's a scheme fit. At running back, we got Scotty Phillips and JJ Taylor, both very fast. Phillips, interesting. 61 overall, but 93 speed, 94 acceleration. Obviously, his carrying stats aren't particularly great, but with that speed, could be a little cheesy. Could be a pretty nice weapon for us to use. We got wide receivers. We got Lynn Bowden, who's a do-it-all man for Kentucky. Played quarterback, played wide receiver, played running back. Going to be interested to see how we can utilize him. We have Aaron Fuller at wide receiver from Washington. Tell you right now, go YouTube some of his highlight reel catches. He bailed out a lot of bad throws throughout his time there. We have Joe Reed, who is a proven return man from Virginia. I think he was first team All-ACC this year as a returner. And we got James Prochet, wide receiver from SMU. This guy, proven production. First team All-ACC, multiple years, 2018, 2019. Has almost 4,000 receiving yards and 39 touchdowns in his college career. So heavy production there. Tight end, we got Mitchell Wilcox and Josiah DeGuara on the offensive line. Yasir Durant could be interesting. 22, 61, scheme fit. Might be able to utilize that. We got McGirt Jr., awesome name. Wallace Sims, France, and Prater. Center is Juriga. Luke Juriga actually was a 2-time first-team All-MAC. So a little bit of an underrated prospect there. Could develop into something at center. We got Sean Pollard from Clemson. Heck and Steele at right tackle. I'm really hoping that we can get some NFL-proven veterans here on the offensive line because I'm looking at maybe Durant and Juriga could be our 2 long-term developmental options, but for both guards and right tackle, I'm looking for some NFL experience. Ideally, put them in the defense. So a defensive end, we just kind of got some guys here. Again, probably going to be looking more along the way of some NFL experience. Right end, Christian Rector was our top draft pick. We actually got a 60 here. Betting Potae. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm terrible with the Islanders names, but these guys are terrific players. He was really good at setting the edge for Washington. Strong run defender. So he has really good shot at cracking the roster. D tackle, again, just some guys. Jashawn Cornell, kind of more of a 3-4 defensive end than he is D tackle, but I'm very intrigued by the athletic stats there. He got 75 acceleration. He's undersized, but I think we can use that. 80 strength, 75 speed, 79 acceleration. We will see. Linebacking core, we got Tipa Gallier. Again, another just tough. I don't know. I assume he's probably from Hawaii or Samoa or something like that. But I like the length. 6'5", 234. Very interesting. That we might be able to use that in some way, shape, or form. I think he has 19.5 sacks, 29 TFLs in his career. His partner in crime, Logan Wilson, more of a traditional outside linebacker. He's a 2019 first team Mountain West, 2019 Pro Football Focus first team All-American, over 400 tackles in his career, 34.5 TFLs, 10 interceptions. So, I mean, maybe he plays well. We got David Reese, who we drafted. Patrick Nelson. Now, this guy here, incredibly polarizing. When I was coming up my draft classes, he's a hybrid in every sense of the word. Very much a strong safety. He played for SMU. He's 5'11", 215, but he was, first team All-ACC, 2019 Pro Football Focus, second team All-American. he had like insane tackle numbers. He has 14 and a half sacks. He had like 11 sacks last year as a safety. So for us, we're going to move him inside the linebacker. He's going to be a very interesting piece that we can utilize there. Our secondary, we drafted Vildor and AC. We got Graylin Arnold, who's a DB. I think he's going to get drafted as a safety, but he can be a corner. He was a 2019 Pro Football Focus first team Big 12, 6 interceptions for Baylor this year. Big reason why Baylor was competitive in the Big 12. So he's going to be a guy right now, at least for the preseason, penciled in as a starter at corner. We got Stanford Samuels, Trajan Bandy, Bassi, and Luckman Barku. Barku, another guy, small school player out of San Diego State, but was first team Mountain West, and he had 10 interceptions, 20 pass breakups over the last 2 years for San Diego State. So a productive player, limited athlete, but might have a chance to stick on this roster. Dowell, who we drafted, you saw, and at strong safety we have Hudson. We're able to get Jeremy Chin and Tanner Muse. If you watch a lot of Clemson football, he was a prevalent safety, big-time leader for them. So here's where we kind of lucked out, because UDFA's Rodrigo Blankenship, the Georgia kicker with the glasses, he was there, and he's actually a really nice-looking kicker. Hidden dev trait, 67 overall. You got 87 kick power. Yeah. Unfortunately, there was no punter, so I pretty much just went this next best UDFA rookie kicker, and we're going to have him punter for the time being, and it's Adam Vinatieri's nephew, Chase Vinatieri from South Dakota State. Never punted in his life, but he still came out as a 65 overall. It is what it is. We'll most likely to try to keep it a little realistic. He's only here until the end of the preseason, and then we can look at bringing in a punter with some NFL experience. So that's our team. It gives us a 58 overall, 58 offense, 60 overall defense with our XP sliders. Again, being at 0, we got to start winning some games. I'm going to have to come up with some sort of legend, some chart about how the XP sliders can be grown over time based upon performance and stuff like that. And I'm going to insert that, obviously. I'll probably put an overlay right now because I'm still going to go working on it. But I think, yeah, we're going to go points for wins, points for performance, year-end awards, stuff like that. All will go into how we improve our XP sliders. But I'm more so just highlighting, got to reinstate that, some of these guys, you get some guys under the 60s. I'm fully expecting when all is said and done this season, we're going to have a couple, Rector should get into the 70s. David Reese with that dev trait should definitely get into the 70s. Dowell could get into the 70s. Some of these corners could potentially get into the 70s, but it's going to be extremely difficult with these sliders being where they're at with a brand new head coach in Hugh Janus. So now that we've kind of met the team, I feel like now is the best time to try to pull. Obviously, we want to get into the gameplay, right? But now is where we're going to cut off this episode. We're going to be very quick turnaround. It's the Super Bowl. I don't want you guys here for all goddamn day. But this is now the time that we can get your input. We can kind of shape this franchise the way that, the way that we need to do it now before we start getting into the preseason games. So you kind of have everything laid out, how I want to run this franchise with the sliders. I'm going to obviously be looking through the comments for suggestions on how we can do the sliders, different types of performance platforms and goals that we can hit to raise our XP. Maybe how do you guys feel about the draft? Is that draft how we handle the draft versus kicking the draft picks down the road? Just drafting the UDFAs as we would rounds 1 through 7. Does that work out? Does that make sense for you guys? But we will be back. I'll tell you this right now. Monday, tomorrow, I will be dropping the summary of the preseason. So before you enjoy the Super Bowl, just kind of give me some feedback of where you're at so far with the Snowhawks, and we'll be back tomorrow with the the finished up part of the preseason, and then we'll probably sign a couple free agents, and we'll end tomorrow's episode with some, you guys make some decisions. You help me pick out some of the free agents that we can bring into our squad. So a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of leg work here in this episode, kind of setting the foundation. But here is at least our base team, and a lot of these guys are going to be familiar, prominent players for year 1 of the Snowhawks and this brand new NFL developmental program to not really, but let's be honest, combat and eliminate the XFL. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are as excited to get into this series as I am. As always, please leave all their comments and questions and concerns and feedback in the comment section below. I will be reading them vigorously before the Super Bowl, obviously. Subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking and talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr. Consistent, I'm doing it big. Way too persistent on taking your bitch. Here comes a monster to scare all you kids.